Hello and welcome back to another video. And today, this video, we're going to be talking about the Six of Crows Duology and why it's a masterpiece. If you watched my August reader wrap up, which I know nobody watched my August reader wrap up, but if you did watch it, I basically talked about how much this duology meant to me. Like, I loved it so much, and the fact that it's October now, I read it in August, and I'm still thinking about Six of Crows. I'm debating whether I should just read the rest of the Grishaverse. I haven't decided, but I just wanted to make a video just to gush over it. Like, I haven't been able to move on, like the characters, the story, the setting. Like, and I know when people were hyping up this book, I didn't want to listen. I was like, it looks a bit too gritty for my liking, because I'm the type that likes that more whimsical kind of fantasy, but this is just so good. Now, in terms of non-spoiler section, I'm just going to talk about why I love this book. I will go into like characters. I'll try not to spoil big events, but I will be spoiling some stuff. But I will just say, read this, go and read this and then come back to this video. I mean, you can still watch this video even before reading it, but I'd recommend just go and read it. I love it so much. It's like watching a high action packed steampunk fantasy movie, okay? And I know they made a Netflix show, but I've not watched it. And because it was cancelled, I don't like watching cancelled shows because I mainly watch K-dramas, and K-dramas are completed. Or, I mean, I watch animes too, and anime is not completed. Like, a lot of animes are just not completed. But I'm getting off track, but I didn't want to watch the TV show because it was cancelled. But yeah, the book is like you're literally watching a movie. That's the way it's written. It is so vivid. So please go and read it. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the characters. First of all, we have to talk about the main character, Kaz Brekker. Even though there are technically 6 main characters, Kaz Brekker is the main character. He is the story. He is the propelling force of Six of Crows. There is no Six of Crows without Kaz Brekker. He's like the missing puzzle piece. So even when you read other people's perspectives, it's like Kaz is still there. He's still centered. He is still centered on the story. And I just thinking about one of my favorite quotes from the book when Inej says to him, "I'll have you without your armor, or not at all." So that really stuck out to me as well. And also Kaz, he's very complex, but also very simple. Like, with his backstory, again, this is a spoiler, you get to learn more about him and why he is the way he is, basically. So when he came to Katzam with his brother, and they met Pekka Rollins, but obviously he was underneath an alias, and he sold them a dream of joy and happiness. Like, here, you live in this beautiful house, drink these nice foods. Like, he gave them a family, only for it to just be fake. And then it kind of just helps you understand why he acts the way he does, why he doesn't like anyone to touch him, why he has such a volatile and confusing relationship with Inej. She is my second favorite character after Kaz. And there's a quote that's written in the book that I loved it so much, and it was in Inej's chapter, and they say, "We learn to hold our heads as if we wear crowns. We learn to wring magic from the ordinary." Like, that is so beautiful, and it kind of just reminds me of why I like reading. Life in itself is kind of like ordinary and boring and like basic, but when you get to read an amazing book, you're able to wring magic from the ordinary. Like, this is, somebody sat down and wrote these amazing characters and wrote this amazing story. They have wrung magic out from the ordinary, and reading books for me is like wringing magic from the ordinary. My ordinary life becomes just a little bit more special because of these stories that are told. Inej herself is also just amazing. Like, I know, people always talk about, oh, the badass female MC, but she's strong and special in a way that it doesn't feel like overzealous or kind of cringy or over the top or like, oh, girl boss. Like, this is just who Inej is, and she has this softness and femininity to her, but she's also able to like climb on like I remember when they were climbing up like the ropes, and when she was climbing on like the tightrope, when they were with those, like, I can't even remember the name, the sugar, the tubs of sugar, and she was climbing on a tightrope, and there was an assassin after her in Crooked Kingdom in the second book. Like, she does such amazing things, and it's like, how do you do this? In fact, half the plans that Kaz Brekker made, Inej, like, he couldn't have succeeded without Inej. Inej is the reason why half of Kaz's plans even work in the first place. Okay, so for Mateus, I have very complicated feelings regarding this character, and I honestly think you're supposed to. Like, I don't think he's one of his. Like, all of the characters are morally great, and they've all done not great stuff. Um, okay, let me tell you what I do like about Mateus's character. I like the fact that, even though he's in love with a Grisha woman, so he's in love with Nina, his prejudice against the Grisha, it doesn't just magically go away just because he's in love with Nina. But, it's such a strong part of the way he grew up and who he is. I don't even know how he's Fergsters, the Fergstons, or however you pronounce it. The way they socialize the people of that population is, Grisha are bad, they must be eradicated, yada yada yada. It doesn't, and his own family were killed by Grisha, so his prejudice against them doesn't go away. But it also means that he's a very polarizing and uncomfortable character for me as well, because there are parallels in history to the way in which Mateus behaves that I just couldn't like overlook it or ignore it. But that's just like a personal moniker, and yeah, that's why I kind of, not that I disliked him, but he did make me feel uncomfortable. And I'm gonna talk more about Mateus and Nina's ship later as well. But he is my least favorite character. Okay, Jasper. Jasper is my third favorite character, which, I thought he would be my favorite, but Kaz was just... Anyways, Jasper is my third favorite character. A line I really liked, and this was in Crooked Kingdom, the second book, he says this to Wylan: I can read for him. And I was like, I wrote in my notes, yes, you can, Jasper, yes, you can. And Jasper, and just so you know, the context of that is, again, spoiler, Wylan can't read. And Jasper is like, and his father says to him, he's like, you can't read, you can't be like the lord of your estate. And Jasper's like, don't worry, I can read for him. And I was just like, that was just really romantic. Like, that was really romantic to me. Okay, Jasper is so flawed. Like, he is so flawed. Like, the fact that he's a gambler and like he just does so many stupid things, but you don't hate him. Like, I should hate him. He does so many terrible things. Like, he put his friends in danger in the first book. When they were about to go and do their mini little heist, he went and was telling everybody when he was gambling. And it's like, so everybody, obviously they came to try and like kill them. And it's like, Jasper, why did you tell anyone? Like, couldn't you shut your mouth for like 10 seconds? But I just love him. The fact that he carries like two like golden revolvers. I love it. I love his character. I love his humor as well. And also, I don't know if I noticed it, but I swear he had a small crush on Kaz. Like, it never, obviously didn't materialize, but there are definitely sections in the book where it's heavily implied that he did have a small crush on him, but obviously, it went nowhere. But I'm just gonna put that out there. And then Wylan. Oh, Wylan is such a cinnamon roll character. Like, I don't want to call him a cinnamon roll, but he's a cinnamon roll with bombs. And also, a thing I really liked was, especially in the second book, because he didn't have a POV in the first one, but he had a POV in the second book. I love the fact that he just didn't care that he had Kuwei's face. Like, he had Kuwei's face, and he literally did not care until Jasper kissed Kuwei by accident, and that's when he was like, give me my face back, give me my face back. He was like, Nina, anybody, give me my face. Oh, that was just so funny for me. And like, honestly, I think that's maybe one of my favorite scenes. Like, I remember reading it like 10 times, and I was like, what is happening? The author is crazy for doing that. Like, how dare she? She is horrible for doing that. But yeah, I love Wylan, and I'm so happy things worked out for him, because like, he really deserves it as well. And I'm gonna talk about ships in a minute. Let me not. I was gonna start mentioning something about Jesper and Ryland's ship, but I'm not gonna mention it yet. Okay, a little bit controversial, but Nina is my least favorite character, and I'm just looking back at the notes I made whilst I was reading the book, and I was trying to explain why I wrote that. So I said that I felt there was something a bit off about her, and I just think it was about the way she was brought up, because she was kind of brought up to be a soldier, and I haven't read the original Shadow and Bone trilogy, so I feel like I still don't really have full knowledge over what's going on with Grisha and all of that. Like, I don't fully know the intricacies of what was going on, but I just felt like she's kind of headstrong in an off-putting way. And also, okay, this is a big spoiler, she didn't seem that affected when Matthias passed. And I mean, she was, but I just don't think she was that affected. Also, I just don't understand why Nina ratted him out to the authorities. Like, she could have said anything. Like, why say that? Like, and I know they explained it, but to me, it still just doesn't make any sense. Like, why did you rat him out? Like, and I think I've never forgiven her for doing that. And even though I have conflicting feelings about Matthias, I still just don't understand, especially after how they had bonded, because they were literally shipwrecked together. Like, that was a thing. But just the fact that, like, did she ever apologize? Did she ever was like, I'm sorry for literally saying that? Like, she got him arrested. And I don't know, to me that always just kind of felt weird, and I always kind of felt a bit uncomfortable as well. Okay, let's talk about ships. So number one for me is Kaz and Inej. If you might have guessed it, but they were my favorites, and Crooked Kingdom cemented why they were my favorite, because again, okay, I'm gonna give spoilers, I warned you. Literally, Kaz, he buys Inej a boat. He's like, by the way, I bought you a boat, because Inej is always talking about how she wants to be a pirate. That's literally what she wants. She wants to be a pirate. Like, I have no other explanation. She's like, I want to sail the high seas and save Grisha. And I'm like, so you want to be a pirate? Inej wants to be a pirate, so Kaz bought her a boat. He bought her out of indenture, and then he also found her parents. And I was like, I had to just close the book and like stare at the sky. And I was like, do you know how much this man loves you? Like, do you know? And also, I love the fact that, like, they don't kiss at all in this book. Like, they barely hold hands. But they had like the best romance. One of the best romances, because Divine Rivals is very special to me. But Kaz and Inej have one of the best romances I have ever read. And they can barely hold hands with each other. Okay, just because Kaz has issues, and if you read the book, you know all about his issues. But yeah, I mean, to be able to succeed in doing that is just amazing, and it kind of speaks, like, for me, I'm not the biggest fan of romantic books. I mean, I am, but like a lot of the time, I just feel like authors don't do it right. Like, they never get it right. Like, I think it's so important that you have that kind of tension, and it's not just like, okay, here's a boy, here's a girl, they have to date, and it's like, but instead of just saying here's a boy, here's a girl, they have to date, you ask yourself, okay, but why are they actually drawn to each other? What is it about that other person that allows them to want to be together? And I just think the author does a really good job at showing why Kaz and Inej work, especially because Kaz has a very like prickly personality, and it really shouldn't work, but she like Leigh Bardugo, she's able to create that romantic tension, and you're able to see it through the way Kaz behaves. So he's definitely one of those people that do like acts of service as his love language. And this also means that you don't need any big sweeping over the top love confession. Like, you know he loves her from the things that he's done for her, especially when all of that was at the end of the book. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. He was like, oh yeah, by the way, I saved your parents, I bought you a boat, I bought you an indenture, and I was like, okay, like I didn't know you felt this way. I mean, I knew you felt this way, but like I didn't know you felt this way. Like, oh, such a beautiful parent. Okay, 10 out of 10. Wylan and Jesper, they were so cute. Not gonna lie, when I read the first book, I found out that a lot of people in the fandom didn't know that they were gonna like be together, and I was like, how could you not know? But like I could tell it was so subtle, like like you may not have been like the other parents like Mateus and Nina and Kaz and Nej. It was kind of obvious that something was going on. With just from Wylan in the first book, it was like, it was very very like very light on the content. Like you could barely see it really, but I knew because I know these things. Okay, I know these things, and I knew they were going to be a ship, and they were, and I was very very happy. I honestly I just thought it was perfect, and the fact that Jesper's going to help Wylan run the Vanek estate is so fun to me. Like I'm really excited for it. Honestly, like I want I want more. Like I want a book about them. I'm really contemplating reading the duology because people say the crows pop up. But truth in the matter is, I just want like just a book about the crows. Like I don't want any other characters. I don't care about any other characters. I just want the crows and like what they're doing. I want to see Nej on her pirate ship. I want to see Wylan and Jesper try and run the estate. I want to see Kaz do the Crow Club. I was gonna say Mateus, but we know where Mateus is. I know you get some of Nina's story in the new duology she did for King Nikolai or Prince Nikolai. So you know, one day I might read it, but people say it's not as good as Six of Crows, so I'm not exactly running to read it. Mateus and Nina, well, you guys already know how I feel about the characters individually and their relationship. Like, I'm just looking at my notes from what I wrote from the first book. I wasn't really invested in their ship. I feel like their relationship is very typical YA, and I knew I wouldn't really like that. Like, yeah, like I kind of hate, like, for example, I read the Crimson Moth recently, and it's like witch ex witch hunter, and this is kind of like the same dynamic. So like, he's a Grisha hunter basically, and she's Grisha, and I never ever like those dynamics. Like, they feel really scummy for so many reasons, and I'm not gonna get into it, but you know why it feels scummy. Like you know why it feels scummy. Like, oh, you're trying to eradicate my people, but it's okay because I'm different. Like, don't even, like, it just feels wrong. And a part of me, I'm just never able to get over it. Like, I know people can get over it, but especially because Mateus never ever really overcomes his prejudice, that's what makes it even more uncomfortable for me. So it made their relationship, like, I just wasn't that invested. Like, it was cute to read, like the whole shipwreck thing and everything was really cute, but yeah, definitely my least favorite. Okay, let's just go over like overall themes, overall thoughts of the book, and you know what I think. I love Leigh Bardugo's writing style. Like, I think her writing style is part of the reason why I love this book so much. I prefer books that have third person writing. It's just a personal preference. Like, I don't mind if a book has first person, but I found that if, say, you're a writer and author and you're not like the best at writing, you're not like as like that sophisticated, but you write your book in third person, it's just easier to read. Whereas if you write it in first person, it feels really juvenile and a little bit cringy. So I just love the fact that this book was written in third person. Like, I just think it works really well for the setting, especially fantasy books. You know what I mean? Because like, I'm in a fantastical world, and it kind of just makes more sense that I'm looking at this world through the outside. Like, I'm not these characters. Like, I'm watching these characters, and I like the feel of the third person because it feels like I'm watching a movie, and I think it worked really well for this style of book. And also she's just such a brilliant writer. Like, I felt like I was there in Ketterdam, like the especially like the different types of people, Zemini, Ravka, Grisha, like it's so vivid and vibrant, and I don't know how, but she was able to kind of write about the different groups of people, and I know like where in the real world she's referencing from. Like Rotterdam is supposed to be Amsterdam, the shoe are probably like East Asian or like from some like kind of China, that kind of area, but she's able to do that without explicitly saying it, which is just an example of a really amazing writer. Okay, like for the writing alone, you should read this, especially because it's like YA, and you know why people are like YA writing is juvenile, but like this is YA. The writing is anything but juvenile. So I really hate when people use that YA writing is juvenile excuse, because that's just excusing bad writing, and I don't think we should be excusing bad writing just because it's made for like teenagers or kids. Like I've read books written for children that have astonishing writing. Like Chronicles of Narnia, for example, is a children's book and that has beautiful writing. So I think just because a book is YA doesn't mean it should immediately have juvenile or flat writing. Another thing is just the way she writes people's backstories and their lives. She does something which I'm finding a lot of new authors I'm reading are not doing, which is showing instead of telling. She doesn't just have like, okay, you know, with Kaz's backstory, for example, which explains why he is the way he is. She doesn't just be like, okay, one day he's talking to Ned on the boat and then he just starts trauma dumping. That does not happen. I don't know if Ned ever fully understands why Kaz is the way he is, but the audience does, the reader does, and she does it by showing Kaz's memories. So you're there with Kaz when he meets Pekka Rollins, when he's in the house, when he's with his brother, when he's in the water, when the plague takes over Rotterdam. You get to read that. It's not just told to you through some sort of weird info dump, which is the issue I had with this one book, Cough Cough the Crimson Moth, where it's just like, let's just info dump a bunch of random information and, you know, not show it to anyone. That's why this book was so special to me, because she truly shows you everything the characters went through. Yeah, this duology, I'm starting like this duology is a masterpiece, and if I haven't convinced you to read it at this point, then I don't know what will. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a lovely day. If you have any other book recommendations of books that are just as amazing, if not even better than Six of Crows, please send them my way. I actually, after I finished reading Six of Crows, I went searching on the internet. I was like, books that are similar, and somebody recommended the Green Creek series, and that also completely changed my life. So I will make a video on the Green Creek series. Maybe like when I'm in the right headspace, because those books took me through a lot, so I don't know when that will happen. But yeah, if you want another series like Six of Crows, please read the Green Creek series, and if you have any other series to recommend me, please send them my way because I will read them. Okay, hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you guys soon.